Good afternoon, everyone. And welcome to our meeting of October the 3rd. It is 3:01. Okay, with that, Jennifer, do we have quorum?
Yes, we do have a quorum.
Wonderful. If I can have everyone please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, oh, that's true. You know what, I was corrected. Today is October the 8th, not October the 3rd. I'm a little behind. Before we go into voting on the consent agenda item, I believe we're going to pull item 10 for discussion in the regular agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
So with that, are there any, we'll just go ahead and move to approve the consent agenda, which consists of items number 4 through 16, with the exception of agenda item 10. May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
May I have a second? Okay. Ms. Holguin?
Yes.
Mr. DeGroat?
Yes.
Mr. Gallardo?
Yes?
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Volk?
Yes.
Ms. Arrieta?
I'll vote yes.
Thank you. The consent agenda is approved as stated. We now move on to the regular agenda. Receive and take appropriate action on the CEO report for the El Paso County Hospital District doing business as University Medical Center of El Paso. Mr. R. Jacob Cintron, President and CEO.
Jennifer, do we want to do that first before we go back into item 10?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, before we get to the CEO report, we will go back to agenda item number 10.
So Jacob has to walk back to the CEO?
I'll stand.
Approve and authorize the President and CEO to negotiate and execute the agreement for the purchase of the rubric backup system. Mr. Michael Nunez, Chief Financial Officer.
Good afternoon, everybody. The reason why we wanted to discuss this and pull this out of the consent agenda item is one item only having to do with the funding of this item. Although this item had been approved at the most recent Finance Committee meeting, the correction on the last page, and I believe that you do have the addendum on there. Previously, it was disclosed that this item would be 100% paid for by the distributed antenna system. Upon going back and just reviewing the records, actually there was this item is going to be split up between two previous capital items. $287,000 will be coming from the distributed antenna system, and the remaining $110,890 is coming in from another Cerner restraints and quality improvement item. So that's the only correction from the previously approved Finance Committee addendum. Contract price stays the same. It's just wasn't for full transparency. There was two substitutions rather than just one.
Any questions or comments in regards to that change? If not, can we take a...
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. Holguin?
Yes.
Mr. DeGroat?
Yes.
Mr. Gallardo?
Yes?
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Volk?
Yes.
Ms. Arrieta?
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 10 is approved. We now move to the regular agenda and to receive the CEO report.
So we'll start with the presentation. Here we had our official heart rhythm electrophysiology lab open on September 12th. This is our first endeavor to offer this new service to UMC in terms of arrhythmia service through the doctors Aberdeen's father-son team. It was originally scheduled to be open August 7th, but given to at that time events that occurred in El Paso, we moved it to this date. We had a good turnout. It includes a beautiful biplane unit as well as the pre-op and the post-op waiting area. So we're very proud of this service that's now new to UMC. Additionally, on September 11th, Dr. Tyrock and our trauma program director, Sandra Gonzalez, were interviewed live on KVIA ABC 7 to discuss the importance of having a level 1 trauma center in our community. As you know, September 11th will live in our history for many, many, many years to come. And it really talked about the expertise of a level 1 trauma center and how it really benefits our community. And given what had happened on August 3rd, clearly we saw the benefit of this great program. We also had the Power of Pink usher again October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. On September 27th, we were the site to launch the Power of Pink, which is a symbolic start to the month of breast cancer awareness. Estela Casas, pictured on the left, shared her part of her journey as a breast cancer survivor. As you know, she is one of the key members at the KVIA. And so we had about a 200-person crowd in attendance. And it also shows, current fighters and survivors of breast cancer were in attendance along with our physicians, nurses, and staff throughout the hospital. Estela Casas on the left is accompanied in the middle with Dr. Karen Chambers, who is the breast surgeon and the assistant professor for breast surgical oncology. And then to the immediate right is Alicia Ofia, who is a breast cancer survivor, and each spoke about their experiences and the types of treatment available today. Stella Casas is also going to be our keynote speaker at our VI Pink fundraiser on Thursday. This event supports UMC's Sobreviviendo el Cáncer or Surviving Cancer program, as well as benefiting our breast cancer patients. Also on October 19th at our West Side Clinic, we will be sponsoring our 3rd annual community mammography event. It says 2nd annual on the PowerPoint. My notes say 3rd. Let's assume it's the 3rd, but we'll find out. And this is an opportunity for any member in the community to be able to receive a discounted mammogram for $50, regardless of who the payer is. So this is important in terms of raising awareness for the risk of breast cancer, and if so, then what the steps for curing are. And then on this Thursday, October 10th at 7 p.m. on KCOS, our physicians of the UMC Neurosurgery Spine Center will be featured panelists on the El Paso County Medical Society television show. They'll be talking about the different services that are offered in UMC and the various techniques that are available to our community. And then lastly, we will show you the video that we produce for our employees each month to let them know what happened during the month. Thank you. And on a personal note, I sent an email to my board as well as my commissioners about the recent passing of my mom. And the main purpose for saying that was just to extend my pride and full faith in our medical team. I saw a level of care provided by Dr. Tyrock and his team that went beyond just the clinical. They were good at offering guidance and advice, personal experience, and made my mother's last 3 weeks here really be memorable to us as a family, and in being able to help us then fulfill her wish of not passing away alone, and making sure that her passing was peaceful. I will tell you that I look at this video and I see people in that video that interacted with my family and myself in providing us support and guidance and care. And, you sometimes worry, well, if they know it's the CEO's mom, is that what's driving this level of attention? But I also saw them do that and much more during the mass shooting. I've seen them do it when we have traumas coming in, and you see not only the expertise, but the caring of the surgeons, their emotional commitment, the ER staff, the physicians, the nurses. And I've seen it even when we have patients come in and request to be seen from out of town. And we had that happen a couple of weeks ago, and I asked Dr. Tyrock to go with me, which he gladly did, to make that family feel comfortable about, their father's situation. I will tell you, this is a family, UMC. It is one that we weren't born into, but it's one that we chose to be a part of. And I'm very proud to be a part of that family, and I'm very proud to see the results of this board's action, the county commissioner's action in making this hospital so good, and in Texas Tech in bringing in excellent physicians, that this is the kind of place that, as I mentioned in my email, I trust with not only my life, but the lives of my family. And so I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that I could acknowledge Dr. Tyrock, Dr. McLean, Dr. Rios Tovar, and the great care they provided my mom, and in the great care they provide to others. They really give me great confidence in our organization. The various members, the laboratory, respiratory therapists, nursing, that I saw them look into my mother's eyes with such tenderness and care that was beyond moving to me. So kudos to this team and the great work they provide that I was able to experience personally. So thank you, Dr. Tyrock.
Jacob, on behalf of the board, I think I speak for everyone to say our deepest condolences to you and your family, my friend. And just another example of the wonderful work that is done in this hospital every day, and I don't think that we really do enough to get that word out there, but definitely Dr. Tyrock, you and your staff and everyone else, thank you for the work that you guys do. Do we have a motion to accept the report? So moved.
I second.
I'm sorry, who was first?
I think Jim,
Jim.
Okay.
and then seconded by Joy.
Ms. Olguin?
Yes.
Mr. DeGroat?
Yes.
Mr. Gallardo?
Yes?
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Volk?
Yes.
Ms. Arieta?
Yes.
Thank you. The CEO report is accepted. We now move to agenda number 18. Receive and take appropriate action on the following quarterly reports. Please note for the record, El Paso Children's Hospital quarterly report will be postponed until November. So we will now receive a quarterly report for the medical staff. Dr. Alan Tyrock, Chief of Staff.
Good afternoon. Jacob, thanks for the kind words. It truly is a family here, UMC, Children's, and Texas Tech. It's not a job. It's just neat to see how everybody works together. So thank you. A few things. We had several policies that we approved over the last quarter. We did not have any at the September MEC, so there's nothing that was on the consent agenda for you this time. The House staff report, the good news is the residents are happy. If you have a happy resident, that's a good thing. They're very happy, Maria, about the call rooms downstairs, so keep them happy, please. We had a report from the Ethics Committee. First of all, the Ethics Committee is getting very busy, and I think that's actually a good thing that we're utilizing them more and more for family discussions. Dr. Cruz Flores chairs that, and they now have a palliative care subcommittee that Dr. Rodriguez is chairing that, and he's part of that. Cancer Committee update was done in August. Dr. Chambers, as you saw her picture up there, she gave the report. UMC is a accredited cancer center. And it's actually only one of 4 in El Paso, but it has a distinction, and I had to always forget the name of it. It's titled Academic Comprehensive Cancer Program. The other hospitals in the city, the other 3, are either comprehensive community or community. And when you put the academic and comprehensive, that means 500 patients or so with cancer, which is a sad thing, but that means it's a busy program. Plus, it has to do research. There's only 70 cancer COCs in Texas, only 5 in New Mexico. The closest one is Las Cruces Memorial. So that's a very strong distinction for UMC. Emergency management update, we received that in August, so a couple months ago. It was 3 weeks after the terrible incident. We did some lessons learned, and we're still doing debriefings and things like that since then. As I told a lot of people, this place was amazing that day. I was obviously not here at the beginning, but what I saw after the subsequent days is great. People really did a good job. Everyone. Trauma is a team sport and is a strong team. There's a lot of leaders that day from all walks of this hospital, not to mention UMC, but also Children's. And I must say the level 2 in town did a great job. EMS did an outstanding job. We had a debriefing about 3 weeks ago as a border RAC, and we learned a lot of stuff that we can do better. But overall, we were very pleased with how we performed that day. Dr. Hendricks has a very good article in the El Paso Physician. I tried to print it, but it just wouldn't print without some kind of, just wouldn't print well, so I couldn't share it with you. But if you get a copy of the El Paso Physician, it's online. Take a look at that. It's very well done. If you have time, look at the video link that Alex Rios Tovar, the Associate Trauma Director, he did. Veronica Escobar, Congresswoman Escobar, asked him to go to Congress about 2+ weeks ago to the House Committee, the Judicial Committee in the House. It's very moving. It's very impressive. I was so proud of the guy for doing that. I'll be testifying, I think, on October 21st. Thankfully, they're coming to El Paso instead of me going to Austin at UTEP. The Texas State, let's see, what's it called? The Senate Select Committee on Mass Terrorism. They're coming to El Paso. I think they're going to go to Midland, Odessa. They're going to go in South Texas. But they want our input, so they asked myself and some other individuals to testify that day. So the 21st at 2 o'clock. I'm trying to think what else for that topic. I think our last patient, if I'm correct, Roxanne, left the facility on Friday or Saturday, so we have no more patients from that incident. And I know Del Sol still has 1 patient. He's very critical at their facility, so there's only 1 in the city. We had some updates. The observation unit has opened. It's not fully monitored, but it will be. All the beds will be monitored shortly, but that's going to offload, I think, the ER volume to getting throughput to the hospital. Roxanne gave an update on the freestanding EDs that will be opening up the latter part of the year. I guess I'm stealing your thunder, Roxanne, sorry. I was told by Dr. Cruz Flores that the epilepsy monitoring unit should be open by, November?
The doctor just arrived last
I can't even say the word, epilepsy doctor. There you go. By November, they should be up and running. That's another kudos to the hospital. And that's it for that. We had our El Paso County Medical Society update. The good news is the measles outbreak in Texas is officially over. Unfortunately, there were 2 deaths from West Nile so far, so that virus is impacting us. And as Jacob, or the video mentioned, 3 of the neurosurgeons will be on the El Paso Physician Talk Show. Sorry, I'm walking away from the mic. In this case, you have a chance, please look at it. It's amazing how many people actually watch that show. And it's amazing the great service that's being provided by, I think, 5 neurosurgeons? I've already lost track.
6.
6, so I can't even keep up. I remember one time we had 1. It was so bad, the guy was on call for 6 months. He finally told me, Tyrok, you find somebody or I'm walking this weekend. I can't take this anymore. I literally got in when they had Yellow Pages paper in about 2000 looking for somebody. Then we also shouldn't tell you this. We had one gentleman who was probably 80 years old. He was covering as a locum. We kept calling him. We couldn't find the man. I literally thought he died. And we were sending someone to the motel down the road to go find him. He was so deaf, he would put his vibrating beeper right here to wake him up. For whatever reason, it didn't wake him up. We found him, he came. So we come a long way, Jacob. Thank y'all for that. I think on consent agenda, Dr. Thomas Dykes, I mentioned him before as being the new chief and chair of radiology. He's doing a really great job here. He's officially the medical director. I think you approved that on consent agenda. Next month, you'll be getting, since it's a new fiscal year, you'll get a request to approve the new medical directors, which most likely will be the same medical directors that are currently, but we have to do that on a yearly basis. Jacob and I will be reviewing that shortly. I just sent it out to you yesterday evening, I believe. So we'll review that. We'll look at it at MEC. It'll go to the PAC, and then it gets presented to the board for, I guess, the November agenda. And that's all I have. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions or comments? Thank you, Dr. Tyra.
May we have a motion to accept the medical staff quarterly report?
So moved.
I second.
Ms. Holguín?
Yes.
Mr. DeGroat?
Yes.
Mr. Gallardo?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Volk?
Yes.
Ms. Arietta?
Yes.
Thank you. The medical staff quarterly report is accepted. We now move to agenda item 19. Discuss and take appropriate action on the proposed initial rate of 1.25% for the El Paso County Hospital District Local Provider Participation Fund. Mr. Michael Nunez, Chief Financial Officer.
This item, I believe, is attachment N. This, going back a little bit about the history, going back to during the budget discussions, keep in mind that previously under the previous burden alleviation program, which had been in existence since about 2007, that program here in the El Paso area came to an end on September 30th. So moving forward, now we are in the local provider participation fund world. Keep in mind, back on July 9th, the Board of Managers did authorize the creation of the El Paso Local Provider Participation Fund for funding the Medicaid supplemental programs such as the Uniform Hospital Rate Increase Program, known as Europe, the Delivery System Reform Incentive Program, referred to as DSRIP, and then Uncompensated Care, known as UC. There are two exhibits in your packet. The first one talks about the required published notice, which was to be published in the El Paso Times. That was done last week, and then also the second exhibit talks about the actual resolution. What this is that starting in with the creation of the assessment, our Medicaid consultants, Jacinta Lorenz, did meet with all the private hospitals here in El Paso probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago to talk to them about the fee assessment. So the fee, this will probably be the first of 3 assessments this fiscal year. So the fee assessment is about 1.25% of their respective most recently reported net patient revenue, and it does cover HCA, Tenet, El Paso Behavioral Health System, El Paso Children's, El Paso Long-Term Acute Care Hospital, the Foundation Surgical Hospital of El Paso, Highlands Rehab Hospital, Kindred Hospital, and also the Premier Specialty Hospital. So what happens is once after we do authorize 1.25% of the net patient revenue, which this assessment will be about $17.7 million, we will bill these hospitals for this assessment. We will collect it, and then UMC will then submit this first in November of the first intergovernmental transfer for the Europe program, and then also in January for the intergovernmental transfer required for the DSRIP funding. So this is what this will be. The next assessments will be probably January, which we will need to bring back for the second assessment for the uncompensated care payment in the month of February, and then possibly around June as we get to the DSRIP July IGT, and then the September UC payment. So this is what this LPPF assessment is. So with that, are there any questions about this?
Any questions, comments? No? Alrighty, do we have a motion then?
Moved.
Second.
Ms. Olguin?
Yes.
Mr. DeGroat?
Yes.
Mr. Gallardo?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Volk?
Yes.
Ms. Arietta?
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 19 is approved. This does conclude our regular agenda. The time is 3:27. We will prepare to go into executive session. Okay, we are now back in open session. The time is 3:55 PM. For the record, there was no action required in agenda item number 20, nor agenda item 22. However, we will take action in open session for executive session item 21. Take appropriate action on the semi-annual nursing services effectiveness report. Mr. Henry Gallardo, our chair.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Mr. Fernandez?
Yes.
Ms. Olguin?
Yes.
Mr. DeGroat?
Yes.
Mr. Gallardo?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Volk?
Yes.
Ms. Arietta?
Yes.
Thank you. The semi-annual nursing services effectiveness report is accepted. At
Jennifer,
this time,
Before we adjourn, just want to make a quick shout out to Mr. Fernandez on his distinguished alum award. So congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Is that,
You're not old enough to be distinguished.
distinguished and wise?
I thought traditionally the winner buys dinner for everybody.
That's where I was hoping we were headed. At least a good bottle of wine. Now, we can adjourn.
we may have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I second.
Thank you. The Board of Managers meeting is officially adjourned. The time is 3:57 PM.